Heiress offered homeless veteran $50K to pretend to be her fiancé. He said, "I'm not acting." Hello everyone, and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now let's get into today's story. Heiress offered homeless veteran $50K to pretend to be her fiancé. He said, "I'm not acting." The rain was coming down in sheets when Nix Blackwell found him. She ducked under the awning of a closed bookstore to escape the downpour, and there he was, sitting against the wall, soaked through, with a cardboard sign that read, "Veteran, hungry, anything helps. God bless." At 36, Nix had seen plenty of homeless people in Manhattan. Usually she walked past without a second glance, insulated by wealth and privilege. But something about this man made her stop. Maybe it was the military duffel bag beside him, worn but organized. Maybe it was the way he sat, straight-backed despite everything, with a dignity that homelessness hadn't stripped away. Or maybe it was his face. Strong features, dark stubble, eyes that had seen too much but still held something that looked like hope. "How long have you been out here?" Nix asked, surprising herself. The man looked up, and his eyes were a striking grey-green, intelligent and assessing. "Ma'am, I'm not looking for conversation. Just spare change if you have it." "I asked you a question," Nix pressed, something about his tone, polite but firm, intriguing her. 3 months, he said finally. "Since I got back from my last deployment and found out my apartment had been rented to someone else. Landlord didn't care that I'd been overseas. Said I broke the lease by not paying rent while I was in Afghanistan. That's illegal. It's also expensive to fight. Lawyers cost money I don't have." He gestured to his sign. "Hence this." Nix studied him. He was probably in his late 30s, with the kind of build that spoke of military fitness even after months on the streets. His clothes were worn but clean, his hair needed cutting, but he'd clearly tried to maintain some semblance of grooming despite his circumstances. "What's your name?" she asked. "Why do you want to know?" "Because I might have a proposition for you." The man's eyes narrowed. "I'm not interested in whatever you're selling, lady. I've got standards, even living like this." "It's not that kind of proposition," Nix said quickly, though she felt her cheeks heat. "I need someone to pretend to be my fiancé for 1 week. Family obligation. I'll pay you $50,000. The man stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "You're joking." "I'm completely serious. 1 week. You pretend to be my loving fiancé at my family's estate in the Hamptons. Act appropriately couple-ish. Convince my grandmother I'm settled so she'll stop threatening to marry me off to suitable heirs. After the week, we part ways, and you get $50,000. Cash." "Why me?" the man asked suspiciously. "You could hire an actor or ask a friend." "Because actors look like actors. Friends know too much about my real life. You're a stranger who needs money badly enough to sit in the rain with a cardboard sign. That makes you motivated. And she gestured vaguely at him. "You look the part. Attractive, well-built, clearly intelligent, despite current circumstances. My grandmother would believe I'd fall for someone like you." "Someone like me," he repeated. "A homeless veteran. A man who served his country and got screwed by the system," Nix corrected. "There's honor in that. My family respects military service. They'll buy the story." The man was quiet for a long moment, studying her. Then, "I'm Cade Ashford, Marine Corps, 8 years, 2 deployments Iraq, 1 Afghanistan, honorably discharged 4 months ago. And before you ask, No criminal record, no drug problems, no mental health issues beyond the standard PTSD everyone brings back. I'm homeless because of bad luck and a corrupt landlord, not because I'm a mess. I wasn't assuming you were a mess, Nick said, though she had been a little. I'm Nick's Blackwell, heiress to Blackwell Industries, which my grandmother runs with an iron fist. She's 85 and determined to see me married before she dies. She's threatened to write me out of the will and marry me off to the son of her business partner if I don't produce a suitable fiancé by her birthday next week. Arranged marriage? In 2024? My grandmother is old-fashioned and ruthless, and before you judge, I've tried everything else. Dating, refusing, arguing. Nothing works. So I'm trying this. One fake fiancé for 1 week. Are you in or not? Cade stood, and Nix realized he was tall, easily 6'2" or 6'3", even soaked and wearing worn clothes. He had presence. $50,000, he confirmed. 50,000, plus expenses. I'll buy you appropriate clothes, cover any costs during the week. You keep everything afterward. And what exactly does appropriately couple-ish mean? Cade asked, his tone careful. Hand-holding? Maybe some strategic affection in front of my family? Calling each other pet names, selling the relationship without... She trailed off. Without actually sleeping together, Cade finished. Got it. I'm not a prostitute, Ms. Blackwell. I'm a Marine who needs a break. If this is legitimate, I'm in. But I have conditions. Name them. First, I want half the money up front to prove this isn't a scam. Second, separate sleeping arrangements. I don't care how it looks. I'm not sharing a bed with you. Third, you tell me everything I need to know about you before we meet your family. Favorite food, hobbies, how we supposedly met. All of it. I don't do sloppy work. Marines, Nix muttered, but she was impressed. Fine, all conditions accepted. When can you start? Give me 2 hours to shower at the VA center and get my stuff together. Where should I meet you? Nix pulled out a business card and wrote her address on the back. My apartment, penthouse. Come up when you're ready. Cade took the card, studied it, then looked back at her. Why are you really doing this? You're rich. You could tell your grandmother to go to hell. Because she raised me after my parents died, Nix admitted. And despite being controlling and impossible, she's the only family I have. I don't want to lose her, even if she drives me insane. This is the compromise. Give her what she wants to see, then live my own life afterward. That's not a compromise. That's you sacrificing your autonomy to make someone else happy, says the man taking 50,000 to pretend to be my fiancé. I'm taking 50,000 to survive, Cade corrected. You're taking on a fake relationship to avoid confrontation. There's a difference. Are you always this blunt with potential employers? Are you always this dishonest with family? They stared at each other in the rain, and Nix felt something unexpected. This man, homeless and desperate, still had the backbone to call her out. 2 hours, she said. Don't be late. Marines are never late, ma'am. When Cade arrived at Nix's penthouse exactly 2 hours later, he'd transformed. Still wearing worn clothes, but he'd showered, shaved, and his duffel bag was neatly organized. He looked at the luxury apartment with an unreadable expression. Nice place. It's home. Nix gestured to the dining table, where she'd laid out cash, contracts, and a detailed dossier. 25,000 up front as promised, contract outlining our agreement, and everything you need to know about me, my family, and our cover story. Cade counted the money methodically, then read the contract word for word. You actually had lawyers draft this? I told them it was for a reality TV show. They didn't ask questions. And our cover story? Cade picked up the dossier. We met at a veterans charity gala 6 months ago. You were volunteering, I was a guest of honor. We bonded over shared interest in military history, started dating, kept it quiet because you value privacy. I proposed 3 weeks ago. Simple, believable, based partially in truth since you do volunteer at veteran causes. I do. Nix blinked. According to your public records, yes. Blackwell Industries sponsors several veteran employment programs. That's my grandmother's pet project, not mine. Then you better learn about it fast, because I'll be asking questions. If we're selling this, it has to be airtight. Cade sat down, started making notes. Tell me about your actual life. What do you do when you're not being an heiress? I run the creative division of Blackwell Industries, marketing, branding, public relations. My grandmother handles operations and finance. Do you like it? It's fine. That's not an answer. Nix bristled. I'm paying you to pretend to be my fiancé, not psychoanalyze me. If I'm going to convince your family I'm in love with you, I need to actually know you. So answer the question. Do you like your job? No, Nix admitted. I wanted to be a photographer, travel the world, document stories. My grandmother said it was a waste of my education and pushed me into the company instead. Do you still photograph? Sometimes, secretly. My grandmother doesn't approve of hobbies that don't serve the business. Your grandmother sounds like a piece of work. She's complicated. After my parents died in a plane crash when I was 10, she raised me alone. Taught me everything about business, about surviving in a world that would try to use me for my money. She's hard because she had to be. I can't hate her for that. You can love someone and still resent the cage they built for you, Cade observed. Nix looked at him sharply. You're very insightful for a homeless veteran. Homelessness doesn't make you stupid, Ms. Blackwell, just broke. Over the next 3 days they prepared. Nix took Cade shopping for appropriate clothes, suits for formal dinners, casual wear for daytime, everything he'd need to look like a successful veteran who'd transitioned into civilian security consulting. Their cover job for him. This suit costs more than I made in a month in the Marines, Cade said, looking at himself in the mirror. You look good in it, Nix said, and meant it. Cleaned up and properly dressed, Cade was striking, the kind of man who would turn heads and make her grandmother believe Nix had chosen well. They practiced their story, their body language, the small intimacies couples shared. Cade was a surprisingly good actor, or maybe not acting at all. When he took her hand, it felt natural. When he called her sweetheart in practice, it sounded genuine. You're good at this, Nix observed after a particularly convincing rehearsal. I'm a Marine. We're trained to adapt to any situation. Pretending to be your fiancé is easier than pretending to be calm while someone's shooting at you. Is that what happened? In Afghanistan? Cade's expression shuttered. That's not part of our deal, Ms. Blackwell. It's Nix. If you're going to be my fiancé, even fake, you should use my first name. Nix, Cade said, testing the name. It suits you. Goddess of the night, dark and mysterious. My parents were mythology nerds. Mine were whiskey enthusiasts, hence Cade, short for Cascade, the brand my dad was drinking when I was conceived. Nix laughed despite herself. That's terrible. That's life. Cade smiled, and it transformed his face. Speaking of life, we should probably establish some physical boundaries before we're in front of your family. What are you comfortable with? Hand-holding is fine, arm around shoulders or waist, maybe a kiss on the cheek if necessary. And if your grandmother pushes for more, wealthy families tend to have expectations about displays of affection. What? Kissing. Real kissing, not just pecks on the cheek. Couples in love kiss each other, Nix. Your grandmother will notice if we don't. Nix felt her stomach flip. So what are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we practice, once, now, so it doesn't look awkward and fake when we have to do it in front of your family. That's logical, Nix admitted, though her heart was racing. Purely practical, Cade agreed. He moved closer, his hand coming up to cup her face. Tell me if you want me to stop. When Cade kissed her, it was gentle at first. A soft press of lips that sent electricity shooting through Nix's entire body. Then deeper, his other hand settling on her waist, pulling her closer. Nix melted into it, her hands fisting in his new shirt, kissing him back with an intensity that had nothing to do with practice and everything to do with wanting. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Cade's eyes were dark. That was... Nix started. Practice. Cade finished firmly, stepping back. Just practice, so we can sell it to your grandmother. Right. Practice. But they both knew it had been more than that. The week at the Hamptons estate was a masterclass in deception. Cade played his role perfectly. Attentive fiancé, respectful grandson-in-law-to-be, charming without being obsequious. Nix's grandmother, Eleanor Blackwell, watched them like a hawk. "He's military," Eleanor observed over dinner the first night. "I like that. Discipline, honor, service, better than those soft business airs you usually attract." "I thought so too," Nick said, squeezing Cade's hand under the table. "Cade understands duty. It's one of the things I love about him." "And you, young man?" Eleanor turned her sharp gaze on Cade. "What do you love about my granddaughter?" Cade didn't hesitate. Her passion. Most people in her position would coast on family, money and name. Nix works herself to exhaustion, trying to prove she earned her place. She's brilliant at strategy, sees angles others miss. And she has this secret gentle side. She volunteers with veteran causes, donates anonymously to military family support groups. She hides it because she thinks compassion is weakness in your world, but it's actually her greatest strength. The table went quiet. Nix stared at Cade, shocked. None of that was in the dossier. He'd researched her, found things even she didn't advertise, and turned them into a love confession that sounded absolutely real. Because maybe it was real. "Well said," Eleanor pronounced. "Perhaps you're not just a pretty face in uniform after all." That night, in the separate bedrooms Eleanor had insisted on, "I'm traditional, but I'm not naive." Nix knocked on Cade's door. "Come in." She found him sitting on the bed, out of his suit, and in the casual clothes they'd bought. "You researched me. Beyond the dossier. I'm thorough. You made it sound real. What you said about me. Maybe that's because it is real," Cade said quietly. "Nix, I've spent 3 days with you. Watched you navigate your grandmother's manipulation with grace. Seen you light up when you talk about photography. Noticed how you check on the staff here, remember their names, treat them like humans instead of servants. You're not what I expected when you propositioned me in the rain." "What did you expect? A spoiled heiress playing games. What I got was a woman trapped by expectations, trying to honor her family while slowly suffocating. I recognize that because I felt the same way in the military, loving it and resenting it simultaneously." "Is that why you left?" "I didn't leave. My contract ended and I chose not to re-enlist. After 8 years, I'd given enough, wanted to build a life that was mine, not the Corps. Then everything fell apart and—" He gestured vaguely. The rest. Nix sat beside him on the bed. 50,000 will help. But it's not enough to fully restart, is it? It's enough for first month's rent, deposits, work clothes for civilian job interviews. It's a start, more than I had before I met you. What if I offered more?" "What?" "A real job, not fake fiancé. Blackwell Industries has a security division. We hire veterans all the time. I could get you in, salary and benefits, help you rebuild." "I don't want your charity, Nix." "It's not charity, you're qualified. 8 years military police before you deployed, security clearance, leadership experience. You'd be an asset. And Cade, I don't want this to end after this week." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this started as fake, but it's becoming real, at least for me. The way you look at me, the way you listen, the way you called me out on my bullshit that first day. I've never had that. Everyone in my life either worships me or uses me. You do neither. You just see me. Nix, I know this is crazy. I know you're probably just doing your job, being a good actor. But if there's any chance you feel this too, any chance we could turn this fake relationship into something real, I want to try. No pressure, no expectations. Just a chance." Cade looked at her for a long moment. Then he cupped her face, the gesture familiar from their practice kiss. "I stopped acting 3 days ago," he admitted. "Maybe even that first day when you challenged me instead of pitying me. Nix, I'm falling for you, hard. And it terrifies me because we're from different worlds and this could blow up spectacularly. but I'm tired of playing it safe. Safe got me homeless and hopeless. Maybe crazy is exactly what I need. When he kissed her this time, there was no pretense of practice. It was raw, honest, full of weeks of tension and genuine feeling. Nyx kissed him back desperately, her hands in his hair, pulling him closer. "Stay," she whispered against his mouth. "Not in your room. Here, with me. Your grandmother can think what she wants. I'm done performing for her. I want this. I want you. Real, not fake." They made love that night with a passion neither had expected. Afterward, tangled in sheets, Cade traced patterns on Nyx's skin. "What happens after this week?" he asked. "We tell my grandmother the truth," Nyx said, "that this started as fake but became real. That I love you and I'm choosing you, homeless veteran and all. She'll cut you off. Maybe. Or maybe she'll respect that I finally stood up for myself. Either way, I'd rather be broke with you than rich and miserable without you." "You don't mean that." "I absolutely mean it. Cade, you've shown me more genuine care in 3 days than I've received in years. That's worth more than any inheritance." The next morning at breakfast, Eleanor dropped a bomb. "I know he's not really your fiancé." Nyx's fork clattered to her plate. "What?" "Please. I've been reading people for 60 years. You two are obviously attracted to each other, but this engagement is manufactured. The question is why." Cade and Nyx exchanged glances. Then Cade spoke. "It was my idea. Nyx told me about your ultimatum. I offered to help. She paid me to play the role." "How much?" $50,000. Eleanor's eyebrows rose. At least she didn't cheap out. "And now, is it still an act?" "No, Mom," Cade said firmly. "It started fake, but I'm in love with your granddaughter for real. I know I'm not what you wanted for her. I'm broke. I'm technically homeless. I have nothing to offer except myself. But I love Nyx, and with or without your approval, I'm going to be with her." "Grandmother," Nyx started. Eleanor held up a hand. "Let me tell you a story. When I was 25, I fell in love with a mechanic. My family was horrified. I was supposed to marry someone suitable, someone from our class. I chose the mechanic anyway. That mechanic was your grandfather. He built this empire with me. Turned out the best business partner I could have asked for was someone who understood hard work and loyalty, not someone born into privilege." Nyx stared. "I never knew that, because I don't advertise it. But Nyx, I've been testing you all week, pushing to see if you'd cave to pressure or stand up for what you want. You failed every test until now, until him." She looked at Cade. "You're rough around the edges, but you've got integrity. You called her out on her bullshit, made her laugh, looked at her like she matters more than her bank account. That's what I wanted to see." "So you're not cutting her off?" Cade asked carefully. "I'm not cutting her off. But you need to prove you're here for her, not her money, which is why I'm hiring you. Blackwell Industries Security Division, $75,000 a year to start, full benefits. You'll work your way up based on merit. No shortcuts because you're sleeping with the heiress." "Sleeping with... We're not..." Nyx sputtered. "Please, the walls here are thick, but not that thick." Eleanor smiled slightly. "I approve, by the way. It's about time you chose passion over propriety." 6 months later, Cade proposed for real. Not with the fake ring from their original charade, but with a simple band he'd saved for from his new salary. "Nyx Blackwell, this time it's real. No contracts, no money, no act. Just me asking you to marry me because I'm in love with you, and I can't imagine my life without you in it. Will you marry me?" "Yes," Nyx said, crying happy tears. "Real, not fake. Forever." Their wedding was small. Eleanor and a few close friends. Nyx wore a simple dress. Cade wore his marine dress uniform. And when they exchanged vows, every word was genuine. "I found you in the rain," Nyx said during her vows. "Homeless, desperate, with nothing but dignity and a cardboard sign. I offered you money to pretend to love me. Instead, you taught me what real love looks like. Thank you for being honest when I was being fake. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for staying. I found you hiding behind wealth and expectations, Cade replied. Successful but suffocating. You offered me money to solve your problems. Instead, you gave me a reason to rebuild my life. Thank you for taking a chance on a homeless veteran. Thank you for being brave enough to choose real over convenient. Thank you for loving me. As they kissed, Eleanor watched with satisfaction. Her granddaughter had finally learned what Eleanor had known for decades. The best love stories start with impossible odds and people brave enough to choose each other anyway. A year after that rainy night, Cade and Nix stood under the same bookstore awning where they'd met. Think about it, Nix said. 1 year ago, I was desperate and you were homeless. Now we're married, you're head of security, and I just sold my first photography collection. Best 50,000 I never spent, Cade joked. You earned every penny. No, I earned something better. I earned you. And as they stood in the rain, no longer strangers but partners, they both knew that sometimes the best things in life start with desperate propositions, fake relationships, and the courage to let something manufactured become magnificently real. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Nix and Cade's fake engagement turned real love touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.